Hi, it's Lipstick Gal. Thank you so much for watching today. Let's talk some July favorites. Man, it was a good month. I found some new things, but I've been pulling for a lot of things I already have in my collection. So you might have seen me mention these as favorites before. One of them is little Miss TirTir here. This red cushion, what is it called? There, Mask Fit red cushion. This is so good. I'm not wearing it today because I'm wearing something that's really light coverage, but on the days I want to look ultra perfected, I love this. I actually prefer putting it on with a brush. So I have been using another favorite of mine, which is the Rephr B04. This is a synthetic brush for liquids, and I just press it into the pan and then plop it on this way. I feel like I don't get too much, and I feel like I like the look of it blended in. What I had been doing was using the actual puff in here to apply it and then taking a brush to kind of blend it out. And I just feel like it's just faster this way. Faster, and I like the look of it, and I don't feel like I get as heavy a look, but I can use this under the eyes as concealer. All my sins are forgiven. I do put on a corrector first, and then I use this under the eye, and I don't have creasing or anything. Oh, great. But I do set it. I do set it. This is fantastic. And I've been setting it with this. Oh my goodness. This RMS Hydra Powder is amazing. So I'm wearing this today. I have it on not just under the eyes and in the T-zone, which is what I normally do with this, but I have it all over today. So I have it, but I just really feel like it doesn't end up making my skin look dry at all. And it is such an elegant powder. I did hear recently that my favorite one from Givenchy, the Prisma powder, is getting reformulated. It's already reformulated and released in Europe, and I don't know. So if for some reason the new reformulation is not to my liking, this would be my second go-to. Like, I still love the Voile Rosé shade of the Givenchy powder, but this is great. Love this. I think this is fantastic. It doesn't make my under eye look dry. It sets everything. I don't have to use a lot. I do use it with like a little triangular puff like this. So I'll pick it up and just like go right underneath the eye. The other thing I do is I will really press it into my forehead lines because I do have some expression lines here. And just to make sure I don't have any foundation, whether it's the TirTir, which I don't really feel like it settles, but I'm always just like, I don't want any problems. I am pressing with some real significant force there, right here at the corners of my eyes where this line is here, and then right in this area as well. And it does a really good job of keeping everything in its place, but it never looks dry, it never looks heavy, it never looks powdery. Another complexion product that I'm still obsessed with is this. This is what I'm wearing today. This is the Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Tint. This is so good. The enhancing tint is amazing. I have the lightest shade in T1, and what I love about it is how thin it is. You can see that it's just very, very liquid, and I don't need a lot. I need about 4 to 5 drops to cover my whole face, and just when I finish rubbing it in, I just feel like the difference between the back of my hands is, and this is what I get on my face, and it wears really well. Like 10, 11 hours later, it's still there until I wash it off. This is super uber lightweight. This looks just like my skin on days that I don't powder everywhere, just my T-zone. It looks so like seamless. That part of the name, she means it. It's no joke. It is really, really, really good. I love this. Something else that I wasn't sure, I had concerns when I first tried it was this. This has actually been lovely. This is the Unreal Skin Sheer Glow Tint from Charlotte Tilbury. I have shade 1.5, so the second lightest shade. I use this sometimes as a highlight, like a cream highlight. I'll dab this on the tops of my cheeks, but when I wear it all over as coverage, it is so pretty. But then I do take the RMS powder and under the eyes, like forehead especially, because I don't want a lot of glow up in here to emphasize these larger expression lines, down the nose and chin, but I leave this portion of my face bare. Oh my goodness, this is so pretty, but I don't find that it stays terribly long. It also claims that it's buildable. I think the only thing that, in my mind, that is buildable about this is the shine that it has. Part of me is wondering, did this show up last month in my, I feel like the longer I use it, the more I like it. And that's the one thing that is so important to me, is to make sure that I tell you if I change my mind on a product, why. And for me, it's the lightness of it, the minimal coverage, the glow, which is so pretty for summer all year long as well, but especially pretty for summer. And I already get a little glowy anyway, so to have this on, it looks really pretty. It's super easy, but I can't blend it with anything but my fingers. And that's the only downside. So I've also been really liking this. This is the Yummy Skin Lift and Flex Concealer from Danessa Myricks. This is shade number 2. This is like my perfect shade. It's just a smidge lighter than the Skin Tint from the Yummy Skin line, but I use those two together and my skin is so lovely. But it's this I've been pairing with Miss Charlotte Tilbury. I've been using this with Lisa Eldridge. It's a little dark for that. And I don't really use it with this because I use this as concealer on the days that I'm wearing this. But this has been really nice. I have worn this on days, just this, you know, like to hit my hyperpigmentation spot, my under eyes, redness around the corners of the nose, and just kind of blend it out into nothing. It looks really pretty. This is such a lovely product. Sits really nicely on my mature skin. I mentioned earlier how much I like the BO4 and the BO5 as well. This one here is a small angled concealer brush. It really reminds me of the A506 from BK Beauty, the Angie Hot and Flashy one. I love this kind of angled design. This one's a little bit smaller than this one, but not by much. You can see that this one is just a hair smaller than this. This has a little bit more surface area to it, but these are really great brushes. If you like synthetic brushes, I picked up some new BK brushes. Obsessed. But this little duo here was $30 in the concept store. And for an excellent concealer brush and an excellent foundation brush, I don't know that you can get anything nearly as good for $30. I don't know if it's still available in the concept store. If it is, highly recommend. These are the 4 brushes from BK that I've been using the most this month. This is the N12, and this is kind of like a little tiny brush that you can use for packing color on, whether it's like a matte or something really sparkly. I also use this underneath the lash line or to smudge out liner on my lash line. I love this brush. I also like the 203. It's not too large of a brush, it's not too small of a brush, but it's perfect for crease work, for building. I can do like a whole look with this brush, and I think that that's what I'm looking for sometimes. Something that's not too small, something that's not too big, something that has a little bit of rigidity to it, but it's not so rigid that it doesn't have movement. This has just enough in the way that the bristles are tapered, works so well. Also, this is another one from the Nikki collection. This is the Nikki LaRose and BK Beauty, the N13. I love this. So soft, so flexible, so perfect for like crease work. I even use this, just the very, very tip of it sometimes, to like buff out what I have on down here, just to make sure that I get a kind of a softer, more blown out look underneath the eye. And I have really been enjoying this. This is the 106 brush, and I use this for cream products where I'll pick up just a little bit of it and I'll do this. You could probably use this as a small buffing brush for foundation. You could use it for cream cheek products. I really like it for blush. I feel like if I work the product into the bristles on the back of my hand or on my palette, and then I start doing this, it instantly blends the whole thing for me. It's like boop, 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 boop. Perfect. These are some of my favorite brushes. I've really, really been enjoying them. So for favorites for cheeks this month, I can't stop using this. This is the new Lancome Idole bronzer. This is the lightest shade in 01. It's officially called the Idole CE Skin Transforming Bronzer. Oh my goodness, I'm wearing this today. I like that it's subtly bronze. It's not too much. You can see that there was an imprint of a rose here. It's almost gone. I'm like, I've been digging into this. Like, I love this. This is so beautiful. When I purchased this, it wasn't available in the US yet, so I ordered mine overseas from Selfridges. You can get this at Ulta now. You can get this at a lot of department stores. You can get this in so many places. I'm surprised I'm seeing this and not the highlight yet, but this is really beautiful. And me and these NARS blushes, okay, so I have been a kind of like, well, NARS, is NARS over? Are we kind of done with NARS? And the truth is, not really. I was so impressed with the relaunch of these. These are the talc-free version of their blushes. This one here is Forbidden. This one is Behave. I had been using Behave a little bit more, but then I started reaching for Forbidden. This is what I have on my cheeks today. So beautiful, so beautiful. Love these. The formula is perfect. They're not too pigmented. That's the problem I had with the NYX blush, the Buttermelt blush and bronzer. Those are so pigmented, you have to like barely like, boop, too much. If I don't want to end up looking like a clown, this is what I need. This is beautiful. For brows, I have really been in love with this pencil from CoverGirl. The minute I tried it, I was like obsessed. And this is the Nano pencil from the CoverGirl Clean Fresh line. I like it so much. Guess we needed another one. Yes, that's how much I love this pencil. It's so good. Also, really still loving the Lisa Eldridge Kitten Lash Mascara. This is great. It is a traditional mascara. It's not a tubing mascara, but I get a lot of lift and length from it. It's got a nice curve to it. I find that I don't always have to curl my lashes if I want to get lift, because if I use it, you know, like this going on, and my lashes never feel crunchy, they still feel really soft. This holds a curl nicely. It washes off easily. It's not something that's really hard to get off. It's not quite like tubing mascara, easy to get off, but she's beautiful. And I like this so much that I repurchased, I think, my third tube this month. I just got it in the mail. This is my second one. I really have been liking this mascara a lot. Also placed an order for more I know, like I don't need anything else. This has quickly become my favorite pencil. This eyeliner pencil from Persona, they're 24/7. This is one that I bought earlier this year in graphite. It is such a pretty kind of brown with a gray lean to it. It's so easy. You can smudge it right at the beginning, and then once it sets, it doesn't go anywhere. So this is one that I will sharpen and use above my lash line. And then once it's a little bit dull and it's not quite so sharp and pokey, I will put in my upper waterline. And I feel like it stays really well. You can get this in like, you know, black, brown. They have a chocolate shade. They have this graphite. I just ordered one in kind of like a plummy tone. I ordered the one in stone. Those are still on their way to me, but I love this formula. This is one though that, because it is a gel pencil, if you do not put the cap on this, oh, you're asking for it to dry out and to die. So I make sure the cap's on really good. And because I can sharpen it, you know, it's really easy to sterilize. So I don't ever really have to worry about like a pencil like this that you sharpen, you know, having it for so long that the product itself, you know, gets contaminated like you would with an inkwell liner or with a liquid liner that has a brush or a felt tip on it. Those kind of, to me, end up feeling like mascaras. You know, after a limited amount of time, you're going to want to get rid of it even if you haven't used it up, because you don't want to put yourself at risk for a sty or any sort of eye infection. But these sorts of liners that you can sharpen, and as long as you keep the cap on, they last really well. Really like these. Here's something that I picked up this month that I really like. This is the Surratt Beyond Beige Quad. Stunning, stunning. Now, I know it looks really simple, very boring Betty. Yes, it is a little boring Betty, but for me, what this serves is ease and elegance. On the days that I want something that's not this involved, I'll reach for this. I can use one shade, two shades, or all four of them and get the most elegant, like ladies who lunch, you know, the sorts of people who you're just like, ooh, wouldn't that be a nice life? That's the look this gives. This gives that ease. You're not trying too hard. You know you're fabulous and life is fantastic at every turn. That's, I don't know. This serves some sort of elegance. It is very expensive. I got it on sale, 20% off. So when you can get it on sale, if you like a neutral palette, I'll link the video down below where I tried this for the first time. Man, this is really good. Also still really into my Natasha, and mine's all gooey, my Natasha Denona Golden Palette. Let me clean it. Okay, that's better. It's a little embarrassing, sorry. But what I love about this are the shades. This is what I have on my eyes today. This is absolutely stunning. The shades that I really, really love, this is Kava. This is so pretty. And this one here is Nubia. These two shades, Nubia is kind of what I have like right here in the middle. So lovely. I also really like this shade here in Aura because it's what I have in kind of like the inner corner here. It looks really gold. It looks white in the pan, but it does have a gold sheen to it. And then there's nothing better than the mattes in here. They're so pretty. They're so easy. They blend out with no effort. This has still been a huge hit for me. So glad to have it. I love the Hyper Shine kit from KJH so much. I have the shade in light pink. I just picked up, it started selling singles, and I had to pick up light gold. This is the highlight that I'm wearing today. You can wear it either as just like this beautiful cream pigment on the skin, or you can mix it with this clear kind of serum. And when you do that, this is what it looks like right here. And this is what I have on my cheeks today. It's a mixture of the clear serum and this metallic pigment, and that's giving me this glow here. It's so beautiful. And when I tell you, I can put this directly over my powdered face, over powder blush, over foundation. It doesn't pick it up. It doesn't disturb it. I loved the initial one that I had so much. I got the one in, I think this is light pink. I had to get the light gold, but these are so beautiful. And this one I've used a whole lot more. The other one you can still tell it's kind of new. But the older I get, the more I need a cream or a liquid highlight so that my skin doesn't look dry. The only powder highlight that is really still killing it for me is the one from RMS, their Redimension Hydra Luminizer. That one's fantastic, but that only comes in one shade. There are 4 shades of this. It works for all skin tones. You can use one, you can use the other. You could use this as lip gloss. You could use this as eye gloss. If you wanted like a glowy, kind of a dewy sort of cheek, but with blush only, you could mix this with some blush. I mean, there's so many ways that you can use this. This is not just for highlight, but it's a completely clear gloss. That's all it is. This serum here, it's such an interesting thing. You do have to want to mix things together to achieve it, but the minute that you do, it is absolutely stunning. Here's what the light pink looks like when it's mixed with the serum. I mean, it's just so pretty, so pretty. It's expensive. I feel like each one of these little pots is like mid-20s. This is also, I think, like $25. If you get the whole set, it comes with a brush. I find that I use my fingers more than I use the brush. You might be a brush person and you might like to have something dedicated to, you know, this sort of concoction where you a little of this, a little of that, and then you dab it on with the brush. But I feel like now that they're selling it individually and you don't have to pay $75 for the brush, the serum, and the pigment, just get what you need. If you already have brushes, use what you have. Get these two. If this looks exciting to you, because like this sort of shine on my cheeks without it bringing out any texture, without it lifting anything I have down below. I do pat gently, but I really, really love it. And I feel like it makes my skin look hydrated, pretty, and not textured. The other highlight I'm still completely obsessed with is this Balm Essential from Chanel. Oh my goodness. I have the sculpting shade. This is such a beautiful, beautiful highlight. You can see it right here. And it looks like glass on the skin. It doesn't end up looking greasy. It doesn't end up looking, I mean, it looks so pretty. There is a slight shimmer to this, the lightest little shimmer, but mostly it's just that glowy, dewy look. If you like that slight, and I hate to use the word sweaty, but that slightly sweaty, like a little bit more than this, because if I tap some of this right on the top, it takes it up just a notch, just a little bit, but it doesn't ever end up looking too heavy or too much. I gotta do the other side. But I really, really love how this is so easy to tap on over the top of everything. It doesn't lift anything up. I really, really like this. Still loving this. I've been spending most of this month in nude lipsticks and lip glosses, and I'm kind of like, whoa, why am I not in the middle of the hottest part of summer reaching for my favorite tomatoey orangey reds? I don't know. I've really, really been loving these lip liners here. I have 2 from Glossier. I'm wearing this one here in Buff today. The other one that has the pink cap is Bit. These are beautiful. And then I have 2 very similar shades from Maybelline. These are the new Lifter liners. They're so good. This right here is the Maybelline in shade number 5. Maybelline in shade number 6. Sorry, this little pink line got kind of close to these guys, but this line and this squiggle go together. It's a little bit more pink than the one from Glossier. This is Glossier in Buff and Glossier in Bit. This has a little bit more coolness to it overall, a little bit darker, maybe a little bit more plum lean to this, where this looks a little bit more pink on the lips. But I really feel like these are such beautiful, easy to use shades. I really have been leaning into that pinky nude lip a lot, and I've been using these 4 liners all the time. Because they are gel liners and they do set down and don't budge, I have been loving topping them with this. I'd never tried one of these Happy Kiss from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the one in Crystal Happy Kiss. It's basically sheer or slightly, I guess it is slightly pink, but this is absolutely stunning if you're putting it over the top of those liners, whether they're Glossier ones or the $8-9 ones from Maybelline. So beautiful. Also obsessed with this new Candy Glow from YSL. This is the shade 6B. I'm kind of worried that if I were to get any more of these, I really wanted to. I'm not getting any more of these because they're supposed to have a pH adjuster in them. This one doesn't. This would be an instant repurchase for me, but this is something that I've been carrying around all month, and I have been using it like lip balm. Like I carry it in my purse, carry it in my pocket. When I need it, I slap it on. It's melty, but it doesn't end up kind of going into all of my fine lines like instantly. It doesn't last that long, but I love applying lip products, especially this one. And this shade here, it's kind of such a pretty kind of rosy nude shade. It's so pretty, so pretty. Also still loving the Plumpgasm from Charlotte Tilbury. I've been wearing this a lot. And this is the shade, say it with me, Pillow Talk. She's pretty. But if you don't like lips that are a little bit irritated and burning from a plumping, this will make your lips feel like they're, oh, they're tingly. There's something on there. And then pretty soon it's like, ooh, I feel that. I would say it's probably like a 4 out of 10. It's not like the Lip Injection Extremes from Too Faced. Those are like, ooh. Or the really old, remember the old ones from Glam Glow where you're like, oh, my lips are on fire, I'm dying. It's not that bad, but it's definitely more than just like a gentle tingle. You can definitely feel it, but I love how it's a really pretty pinky nude. Also have been loving this. So I picked up the Roman Glasting Color Gloss. This one is the shade Deepen More. I don't know that it makes a lot of sense to me, but it's so pretty, so pretty. Like if you like glossy things, you'd like this one from Charlotte Tilbury. This one here is a little bit darker, a little bit more brown, but let me tell you, it is more comfortable because it doesn't have that tingle to it. Very glossy, very pretty. But you see, I've been going for these very nude shades. And then the one that I'm wearing today, okay. This Sicily lipstick is beautiful. This is Lafito Rouge, and this one is called Beige Manhattan. Yeah, so me and my nude lipsticks, we're definitely having like bronzy eyes, you know, golden tones, warm blush, kind of pinky nude lips, mostly nudie nude lips. Really have been loving that a lot this summer. All right, things that I feel like are a fail for me. I'm so sad to say it. This is one. This is the Clarins Lip Oil Balm. The formula is beautiful. I should have gotten a different shade. I was worried about getting a red or a pink because there are some of the lip oils that have a pH adjuster in them, like the traditional oil, like that comes in like the little gloss applicator. And then there are some that don't. I have one in chocolate, no pH adjuster. But if you get the one in Pitaya, like my youngest, pH adjuster. And I was worried that these were going to have a pH adjuster, so I wanted to go for something that was nude. And this is the shade 04 Almond. Now, is it nice? Yeah, it's comfortable. I'm not a huge fan of the smell. I mean, it doesn't smell bad, but it's, I don't know. It doesn't really smell sweet. I'm not really smelling ingredients. It's a little strange to me. I feel like I paid 30 some odd dollars for hardly anything. Like I'm not really getting what this gives. Had I picked it up, and I should have, in this red shade, this is the shade Cherry. Man, this is what I should have gotten. So for me, I feel like it's not a formula fail. It's more a color fail where I picked up the wrong shade and I feel bummed every time I see it because this one's Cherry. It's so pretty. The formula feels good on my lips. It doesn't last terribly long, lasts about an hour, hour and a half. Easy to reapply. You don't necessarily need a mirror, but I have been a little bit underwhelmed by this, whereas this obviously like I love and I'm forever reaching for, and I have to fight my 16-year-old. You can't have it. Go get your own. But everybody in my house loves the Clarins lip oil. We all have one. We all love it. Here's something else that I really wanted to love. This is the Artistique Highlight, liquid highlight from Sephora. So I have a little bit of a problem with the packaging because it's a click up only sort of formula. And the more you click it, I'm waiting for it to come through. There's a little bit here at the top, but if you're waiting, this is like what, click number 5 or 6 now, and nothing's coming up. 7, and I'm waiting. I'm trying to be patient here, and nothing's coming up. So I keep clicking and I'm waiting, giving it time to make sure if it's going to come up. And then I feel like there comes a point where all of a sudden a whole bunch of it comes up, more than I can use. And I'm still clicking and I'm still not seeing anything. And I'm like, okay, what is going on here? So at this point, I push this down to see, and there's very little that comes out of the little plastic nozzle in the middle. We're not there yet. So I really have to give it a good crank to get any sort of product out. I'm just continuing to crank it and I'm not getting anything. So I don't know, maybe me and this packaging aren't agreeing. I feel like I should have gotten something by now. I don't know. So that is frustrating to me. The other thing is I find that once I put the cap on, guess where it ends up? It ends up in the cap. So I feel like I'm forever pulling product out of the cap to be able to apply. And at that point, it's a pretty glow. It's a little glow. I have the shade Lame. It's the golden shade. It's just okay. And for 50 some odd dollars or 40 some odd dollars, I don't know that I would say you need this. I do love and would highly recommend, if you can get it on sale, the quad in Beyond Beige. But I don't know. And this doesn't inspire me to try any of the liquid blushes that come in this sort of applicator. And I don't know, I'm like, am I out already? And I haven't even had it that long. I've had it for about a month now, and in using it, I just really don't find that it does a lot for the look of my skin, and the applicator is so frustrating. Oh my goodness, not good. Now these next two, I wouldn't say they're bad products. I actually really like the products. I just feel it doesn't work for me. One of it is because, okay, I love the Flush Balm from Merit. I got this shade in Rouge and I love a red blush, but I cannot find a way to use this without it being too much, because when I blend it out, it's probably too bold of a shade for me. This is one that they sent me, but I asked them to send me this one. And I feel like maybe with my kind of laid back sort of less is more blush, I've been kind of getting out of my really bold, let's blush. And that's what this gives. And so maybe I'm just not used to it because I've been a little bit more subdued and less 1987 with my blush recently. And maybe that's why this feels like it wasn't like a hit the ball right out of the ballpark sort of moment for me. I didn't home run with this like instantly the first time I used it, and I've used it a couple more times and I feel like I'm always just not quite there. I feel like it would be better on a day where I'm wearing a lot less makeup, kind of more French girl, a little bit of liner, mascara, blush and lipstick and eyebrows, and call it good. Here's another thing that I want to love, but I feel like this looks better on my 14 and 16-year-olds. They have that young, beautiful skin, and the bronzer is amazing, but it's matte. And this highlight is pretty. You can see the embossing of the rose on this. And if you look at the bronzer, like this is the one that's been getting all the love, because this one used to have this pan embossing, and now the pan embossing is almost nearly gone. So you know which one I've been using. And although this is lovely, this sometimes can look just a little bit, and I don't know whether it's the shade, did I get the wrong shade? It can look a little bit dry. It is pretty. I find that the more I buff it in, and if I use a finishing powder over it, it looks even prettier. But do you see how you can see some of the texture on my skin here? My hands are not as hydrated as my face, so it doesn't look as egregious on my face. But if you're looking, trying to decide between these two new products from Lancome and you have mature skin or textured skin, I would say the bronzer is worth it. The bronzer is stunning, especially shade 01 if you have fair skin. I feel like this highlight, although she's really lovely and it's really pretty, it's for people with less texture. So for me, I'm nearing my 50th birthday in January. I feel like my age of powder highlight might actually be over. I don't know, but that's kind of what it feels like. So it's not a bad product. It looks beautiful on, skin that's got a little bit more collagen and a little bit less loss of elasticity. Like my teenagers look amazing in this, but on me, it's not what I was hoping it would be. Let's talk some non-beauty favorites. I've been reading a really interesting book and I'm this close to being done. And I think that when I'm done filming, I'm gonna go and finish it. I have to know what happens. It's called The Girl from Guernica. It's by Karen Robards, and it's the story of a young girl who survives a bombing of a small town in Basque Spain. Basque Country is kind of like really towards the north of Spain, and it's a very different part of the country. You're not going to see any flamenco dancers or eat paella or any of that. It's a very different part of the country, but it's really interesting. Her mom is Spanish, her dad is German, and the bombing of Guernica was in 1937. So the story starts with the bombing and then it goes all the way through the World War. And she goes back to Germany. So how she's dealing with what's going on during the war, the calling that she feels that she has. It's really a compelling story. It's very well written. I've really been enjoying it, but I'm not done yet. And I'm like, I need to finish my book. So good. I went with my husband and my oldest to go see Twisters. Okay. I normally am not that sort of a movie person, but I remember seeing the original Twister in the mid-90s and I loved it so much. I loved it so much when I found out there was going to be a second one. I'm like, you have to take me. You have to take me. So my husband and I went to go see Twisters and our oldest was like, I want to go. I was like, great, come, let's go. And the youngest was like, no, I don't want to see any sort of like natural disaster movie. You guys go have fun. So 3 of us went. We had the best time. We got the popcorn, we got the milk duds, we got the soda, we had a ball, and it was absolutely the sort of no-brainer summer movie that I wanted, and I loved every moment of it. There have been a couple of TV shows that I've been watching on Apple TV. One of them is Presumed Innocent. I remember in the 90s when there was a movie called Presumed Innocent with Harrison Ford, and I loved it. And I haven't quite finished the series yet, and I'm, the one on Apple TV. It's new. It has Jake Gyllenhaal in it, and it has me on the edge of my seat. I'm so curious if it ends the same way, but it's really well done. I have really been enjoying it. And since it's a series, you kind of get more character development because it's not all smushed into 2 hours, and there's more that's coming out in the story. I know it's based off of a book. I haven't read the book, but now I'm kind of like, well, I don't know. So that one's really interesting. The other one that I've been loving and is a comedy is called Tierra de Mujeres, and it has Eva Longoria in it, and that translates to Land of Women. And she is a wine connoisseur. She ends up, for various reasons, in her mother's hometown in Spain, and they happen to make wine. It's only women who make wine in that specific town, and so like the entire wine industry is run just by women. There's one guy and he's not in charge, so he's like kind of like doing all the heavy lifting, but it's mostly these women, and everybody else, they all have different jobs, but they do this one thing together as a group, and it's really cool. But it's so funny. And I have been enjoying it. I'm always trying to find a way to brush up on my Spanish. And the best way for me to do that is to make sure all the subtitles are off and to watch something in Spanish. Because I learned my Spanish in Spain during my college years. I spent a year in Spain, and I really feel at home listening to not just the cadence and the intonation, but also to the accent. And I really, really love it. The other thing that's interesting is they do have to throw up subtitles because sometimes they go from Spanish to Basque. And Basque, I don't speak Basque. It's very interesting. It's a completely different language. So they do throw up subtitles for that moment where they're talking in Basque or Euskera. I was like, oh man, that is so cool. So I have been loving that, but it's really funny. And it's basically a dramedy. Got a little bit of drama, mostly comedy, and it's kind of like a comedy of errors because Eva Longoria, even though her mother in this story is from Spain, she was raised in the US, and she does speak Spanish, but her Spanish isn't perfect. And it's just kind of like a comedy of errors of what happens when you think you know everything, and then there's the people who do the work. It's actually hilarious. I've really been enjoying it. It's been super fun. Last thing that I loved about July, my kids were gone for the first 2 weeks of this month, and my husband and I got in the habit kind of mid-June when my kids left of going to breakfast once a week. Normally, we don't go out to eat that often. You know, eating out has just gotten so expensive that I just really lean into making meals at home. So I'm just used to leaning into, let's cook, let's make something at home. But we went out to breakfast once a week for 4 weeks, and it was the best. Those first 2 weeks before the kids were back, going out to breakfast, just the two of us, it was great because we got a chance to sit there quietly, have our cup of coffee, hold hands over the table, talk to each other, and talk about stuff. Because normally when we've got the kids with us, the kids are driving the conversation at what's going on with their friends or this cool thing that they saw on, you know, YouTube or whatever. The kids are always like, which is great. I love that. I like knowing what's going on with my kids. But my husband and I, sometimes we're so involved with what's happening with the kids when they weren't here. We just really loved the talking about stuff we never have time to talk about. And that's when we realized, ooh, we need to try a little harder. It was really fun, and it was a great way to reconnect, and I really, really enjoyed it. And now I'm kind of like, how can I find a way without making my kids feel like they're getting left out? Go to have breakfast with my husband at least maybe once a month. Maybe that'll be our date or something, you know, instead of having a date night, get up early and go and have coffee and breakfast and just kind of sit there and linger. It was fun. Thank you so much for watching today. Here's where I want to know what your July favorites were. Was there a specific food item that you fell in love with? Is there a beverage that you're loving? A movie or a TV show, a book? Like, what is it? What part of your day or your entire month has just been your favorite? It could be a ritual that you have. Whatever it is, let me know. If you've been loving a specific beauty item, also want to hear about that, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have an incredible day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.